E te wano, kia ora tātou. I'm Kiritahi and today I want to talk about something that doesn't sound too glamorous, but in fact changed everything for us. And so, we're going to talk about infrastructure design, the bones of your project, and why you need experts to build them. Welcome to episode 4. Now, when we bought our land, it was blank, eh? No power, no water, no roads designed for safe access, just whenua. Beautiful, raw and completely undeveloped whenua. And that meant we had to design and build everything from scratch. Now, I'll be honest, infrastructure sounds really technical. And Anna, well, it is technical. And when Dina Tapara, our engineer, first started explaining things like water catchment systems and wastewater consent pathways and Reno mattresses for those installations, I actually felt a bit lost. But that's exactly why I want to share this episode with you. Because if you're building on undeveloped land, you're going to face the same challenges that we did. Okay, and you need to know, you're not alone, and you can understand all of this. All right, let's talk about the cost. Yeah, the need for understanding what the cost is. So let me start here in infrastructure design. Well, it's not cheap. It's not a small line item on your budget. Yeah, it's foundational. It's the difference between a project that works and a project that fails. When our infrastructure team started mapping out what we needed, the costs were significant and the detail was overwhelming. Oh, but here's what we learned. That detail matters because it keeps your project safe, legal, it keeps it sustainable. And the cost, well, it's an investment and something that will serve our wano for generations. And that's what we want, eh? So, we brought in Dina and Victor, brilliant engineers with expertise in infrastructure planning, because we needed people who could translate the technical language into something we could actually understand and make decisions about, and eventually explain it to our own wano. Yeah? So that's what I want you to hear. Bringing in the right expert isn't a luxury. It's essential. And part of their job is to help you understand what they're doing. Kapai? So again, let's get right into it and start with our, challenges. Challenge number 1 was, water. Let's start with that. Let's start with water. You can't build without it. On our land, we didn't have town water supply, so we had to design a water catchment system. Basically, we harvest rainwater from our roofs into storage tanks. Now that sounds pretty simple, eh? Or kaore. It's not. You have to calculate everything, the rainfall patterns, the tank capacity, the water quality system, and the testing and the filtration systems and backup supplies. Well, our engineers walked us through all of it. And we asked, what do we actually need to know? And they explained the calculations, they explained the regulations, and they also explained the contingencies. That's pretty cool. Now, here's what we learned. Infrastructure design isn't about building what you think you need. It's about building what your land, your climate, te taiao, and our regulations actually require. And that takes, expertise. Our second challenge. Next, wastewater. Everything that flows out of your homes has to go somewhere, eh? It's got to go somewhere safe. And on our land, when we're here at Kimiora Papakainga, we couldn't connect to the council sewers. So we had to design a treatment system, and it had to be consented by 2 authorities, our iwi, Ngā Tangata Tiaki, and Horizons Regional Council. Why? Why 2? Well, it's because our treated wastewater flows into our awa tupua, yeah? And he tapura wa tō tātou awa, Our river, our tupuna is tapu, and it has mana. So we had to apply for a consent to guide treated floodwater back into her waters in a way that honours our tupuna and keeps our awa tupua safe. Our engineers worked with us to design swales, the vegetated channels that filter water naturally, and Reno mattresses, which are rock structures that slow the water flow and allow natural filtration. They're really amazing. These aren't just engineering solutions, they're land care, kia tiakina te wenua, and to respect our awatupua. So, my husband, Woody, our son Panatai, and our moko Ueka Apoe were our landscapers. And they planted all the flax and the natives we'd grown from our native nursery here on the Papakainga. We calculated. We planted a few thousand, Anna, along the banks, a whole 10 acres. Well done, guys. Karawe. I just loved seeing my 6-year-old moko working with his koro and his uncle. Now that's real succession planning. Ma'itai. And I wanted also to show Ueka Atu that he is a real part of his papakainga and that he plays a part in maintaining our ika. Ka pai moko. So the consent process took time. It required relationship building with our people, our iwi. It required understanding the regional council's rules. But here's the point. We did it right. We asked for permission. We designed with care. And we got consent because we showed we understood what we were asking for. And that's actually really, really important. That's what infrastructure design means in our world. It's not just technical as well, it's relational. We were asking our whenua, our awa, our wano, can we do this safely and respectfully? And Anna, the answers came. It's thriving, it's fantastic. Our challenge number 3, Te Wano. Because we were guiding water into our awatupua, we had to protect her banks from erosion. So, as I was saying before, we mass planted trees, our natives, vegetation to hold the soil and prevent the banks from falling into the way. Now, this took time and it took planning, and it was done in the rain, hail, and snow. It's a 10-acre block, and that was thousands of rako. So we needed to source them all, the seed, grow them on our papakainga. It wasn't a quick fix. We didn't go in and buy them, but it was the right thing to do. And it meant our infrastructure design included environmental restoration. That's perfect mai that matters, and we did it all. Te tiaki nei te taiao. Challenge number 4. Well, here's another reality. Our land is near a state highway. That meant that the road into our papakainga had to meet safety standards. We had to widen the road to ensure the visibility, designed to safely pull in was done. So that our visitors, our wano, could safely access our papakainga. Now, this sounds pretty straightforward, eh? But it involved consent from the council, horizons in particular, calculations about sight lines and traffic safety assessments, and Dina managed all these with, of course, Mills and Albert. They were fantastic. They translated what the council required into what we could actually do and build, and it, of course, added cost, but it meant our wano could arrive safely. Ka nui te mea atu ki a rātou. Our 5th challenge, power and supply and the transformer. Finally, the nearest transformer, the electrical box that supplies power to the area, wasn't positioned in the right place to serve our site, so we had to move it. Yeah, again, that sounds simple. It wasn't. It required coordination with the power company, PowerCo, engineering plans, cost negotiation, a Sparky, timeline management. And it's a big job. So all to supply power to our homes, and that's non-negotiable for Papakainga living. Now, I want to share something really important, because here's what I want you to hear. Yeah, it's it wano. We invested the time, learned all of this, so my daughters, my son-in-law, and our moko could learn it too. Not so they become engineers, although they might, which would be perfect, but so that they could understand infrastructure and ask the right questions. And eventually, when they see you wherever you are, explain it to you whenever and wherever. Oh man, I love it when you can ask, when you ask on or offline, and we're very open to sharing our story, what we did. Hence, doing this podcast. It's relevant for now. So listen, learn, and share. You're most welcome because, again, it's our gift to you. Because, hard out, I bet you may be one of those wano out there right now looking at blank land, wondering if you can build, feeling overwhelmed by the technical language, eh? And you need to hear from wano like us. Because yes, it's complex, Anna. Of course it is. You need experts, aye. It costs money. But here's how you do it. Here's what you ask. Here's what it means. That's the ma'i we're doing. We're learning so we can teach. We're breaking down the technical so it becomes accessible. And we're showing that infrastructure design isn't something that happens to you, kaore. It's a guide for you. Yeah. So the lesson, e te wānau, is infrastructure design is where your vision meets reality. It's where you discover what your land needs, what your roe or region requires, what your community values, and it's where you need experts, not to make decisions for you, kaore, but to translate complexity into understanding so you can make those decisions yourself. And yeah, Dina was that for us. She was our expert, still is. She didn't just design infrastructure, she explained it. She invited us into the process. She helped us understand why every decision mattered. And that's what I want for every wānau building on your whenua. Not to feel overwhelmed or lost. Then you give up or put faith into someone else who stuffs things up for you. Well, we don't want that. We needed, like you, someone who was mana enhancing. Someone with the right knowledge and expertise and heart, aroa, and we got that. So let's park this here so you can reflect on the kōrero. If you're like me again, I need to listen a few times over and over, e te wānau. So, hey, kia ka'a. Your infrastructure is the foundation. Build it right with the right people and with openness and honesty, and you'll never go wrong. Remember, have our moko and their moko in your mind all the time and bring out wānau home. Āna, kua mutu i konei. Ma te ariki, tātou katoa e manaaki. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.